Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We're the show that really tries to plunge into all that information out there, sift through it, and pull out the insights that actually matter for you. Today we're tackling something big, a question that I think resonates with loads of young professionals across India. It often feels like, well, staring up at a financial Everest, doesn't it? Is it genuinely possible, like for real, for someone just starting their career, maybe on a pretty modest salary, to actually build a net worth of
What stands out from all the research we looked at is that the actual blueprint, the roadmap to hitting that 1 crore mark, it isn't some hidden secret.
Yeah.
It's not just for the super rich. Instead, it's a remarkably clear, disciplined, and honestly quite achievable approach.
Yeah.
It's laid out really explicitly in the strategies we analyzed. The path is there. It just takes understanding and consistency.
Exactly. And that's basically our mission for this deep dive. We've just finished digging into a whole collection of financial roadmaps, detailed guides on systematic investment plans, SIPs, and even some pretty complex investment growth tables, all of them specifically aimed at young Indian adults. Our goal, pull out the most important bits, the real nuggets of knowledge, and give you a kind of shortcut to getting properly informed on this. It's so crucial.
Right.
We're not just scratching the surface here. We're really diving into practical strategies, stuff that balances time, manages risk effectively, and uses the honestly incredible power of disciplined saving to slowly, surely build up serious wealth, even if you're starting from pretty much nothing.
Mhm.
So this deep dive is designed to give you, our listener, actionable steps and maybe a few surprising insights along the way, no matter where you are with your finances right now. Think of it as your personal roadmap to that 1 crore goal. Okay, so before we even think about packing our bags for this wealth-building journey, our deep dive showed something really fundamental. There are these critical, absolutely non-negotiable base camps you have to set up first.
Right. Foundational stuff.
Exactly. Not just suggestions. They're like the bedrock your whole financial future gets built on. And the very first one, building your emergency fund. Every source we looked at hammers this home. It's step one, your ultimate financial safety net.
This point is just so critical. And, for really good reason. The core idea is actually pretty simple. Before you start putting serious long-term money into things aimed at growth, like stocks or equity funds, you absolutely must have a solid emergency fund in place first. I mean, it raises a really important question, doesn't it? How can you really focus on long-term wealth building if you're constantly stressed about some unexpected expense completely derailing you?
Makes sense.
The whole point of the emergency fund is to be this unshakable shield. It's there to cover those things that just pop up unexpectedly, maybe a sudden job loss, a medical issue, your car breaking down, the fridge dying, and the drill.
Oh, yeah.
And it stops you from having to dip into, or worse, sell off your long-term investments at maybe the worst possible time, potentially locking in a loss. It's like, imagine you're about to go skydiving.
All right.
You wouldn't even dream of jumping without a parachute, right? A working one strapped on tight. The emergency fund, that's exactly it. It's the parachute for your financial life.
Absolutely not. No way. And our sources, they get really specific about how to actually do this. You need to aim for about 3 to 6 months worth of your essential living expenses, not your whole salary, just the essentials.
Right, the must-haves.
Exactly. Rent, food, utilities, basic transport. And where does this money live? It needs to be somewhere super liquid. So maybe a liquid mutual fund that's a type of fund investing in very short-term things, or honestly just a straightforward savings account.
Somewhere safe and easy to grab.
Precisely.
Yeah.
The keywords are readily available and safe. You're not trying to earn big returns here. You just need to be able to get that cash instantly, without any fuss, when you need it. It has to be there, like now.
Exactly. It's not just a nice-to-have buffer. It's a vital part of financial stability. It actively stops you from being forced to sell your growth investments when things go wrong. Think about it. You've started your SIPs, you're feeling good, making progress, then bam, a big medical bill lands, or the car needs a major repair.
Yep.
Without that emergency fund, the pressure is immense to pull money from your mutual funds. And that could mean paying exit loads, those fees for pulling out early, or maybe even selling when the market's down and taking a loss.
Ouch.
Either way, it completely throws your long-term plan off course. So this fund, it's this invaluable shield protecting your whole investment strategy, making sure your journey stays on track. It's non-negotiable.
Okay, so that crucial safety net is woven, it's secure. Now it's time to set our compass. Because, as our sources really showed, without a clear destination, even the most careful saving can feel a bit well, aimless.
Yeah.
Which brings us to the next non-negotiable step, defining your financial goals. This is basically your investment compass.
What's really fascinating here is how having clearly defined goals, they literally act like a compass, right? They guide your investment choices with real precision. And they help you stay disciplined, not just for months, but for decades. Without specific milestones like, are you saving for a house down payment in, say, 5 years? Or is it about a comfortable retirement 30 years from now? Funding kids' education, maybe a sabbatical. Without that clarity,
You're just saving vaguely.
exactly, you're kind of investing blind, just putting money into the market without a real strategic purpose. And the type of investment you choose is directly linked to your goals timeline and how much risk you're comfortable with.
Okay, that makes sense.
So, for example, equity stocks, equity funds, which historically gives higher growth potential, that's generally best for your really long-term goals, stuff that's maybe 7, 10, 15 years or more away. That longer time frame lets you ride out the market's ups and downs, the volatility. But for shorter-term needs or for the part of your money you need to keep stable,
Like that house deposit in 5 years.
precisely. For that, debt instruments are usually safer. Things like fixed deposits or debt mutual funds. They give you stability, they preserve your capital, though the returns are lower, but they offer predictable liquidity when you actually need the cash.
Right, so you don't put your house deposit money into something that could drop 20% right before you need it.
Exactly. This clear distinction stops you from making that mistake. It prevents a lot of potential stress if the market dips just when you need that money.
So it's not just about piling up cash. It's about piling it up for something specific. And that clarity then powerfully shapes how you save and invest, which leads us straight into the third foundational pillar, mastering your expenses and, crucially, avoiding debt aggressively.
Especially high interest debt.
Yes, this isn't just about being tidy with your finances. It's absolutely vital for freeing up the capital you need to actually fuel your investments.
Yeah, if we connect this to the bigger picture, debt can be a massive drag, a really significant one. It's effectively working against your compounding efforts.
Yeah.
Think about it. If you're carrying high interest credit card debt, or maybe personal loans, even some car loans, that money isn't just flowing away from you, it's actively eroding your potential to build wealth.
Hmm.
Our sources really spotlight the danger of high interest debt. Credit card balances often charge, 30, 40% a year? It's huge.
Yeah.
Personal loans with double-digit rates, they can feel like a financial black hole.
Are you draining?
Every single rupee you use to pay down that kind of debt is a rupee that cannot be working for you, compounding over time. So getting rid of this debt aggressively, it's not just a good idea. It becomes a powerful accelerator for building wealth. It's like cutting loose an anchor that's holding your financial ship back.
And here's where it gets, I think, really interesting. It's a mindset shift. It's not about feeling deprived,
Yeah.
and cutting back just because.
Right, not about scarcity.
Right. No. Our sources frame it as smartly maximizing your investable surplus. Every rupee you save by consciously managing non-essential spending, by really thinking about where your money goes. That's a rupee you can immediately put to work for you in your investments. The sources really stress, the need to clear out existing high-interest debt quickly, decisively. As you said, it's like a relentless entity of wealth creation. It just eats into your future earnings, almost like negative compound interest working against you.
That's a great way to put it.
So, by taking control of spending, by attacking those high-interest debts, you instantly create more breathing room, more capital to invest, more fuel for your SIPs to get you towards that Euro 1 crore faster.
Yeah.
It's about seizing control, turning that constant outflow into powerful inflow for your future self. Okay, so we've got those critical foundations laid, solid as a rock, hopefully. Now let's talk about the engine, the thing that really drives this wealth creation machine. That's the systematic investment plan, or SIP, and that almost magical force of compounding. So first off, just for anyone who might be new to this,
Yeah.
what exactly is an SIP?
Yeah, good question. At its core, an SIP is actually remarkably simple, but it's incredibly powerful. Basically, it's a way of investing a fixed amount of money regularly, usually every month, into mutual funds. Think of it like automating your savings and investing. It takes the guesswork out, takes the procrastination out, maybe even takes some of the emotional reaction out of your investing decisions.
Sets it on autopilot.
Pretty much. And our sources, they consistently point to equity mutual funds as the main vehicle for hitting that Euro 1 crore wealth goal in India. Why? Well, mainly because of their historical long-term growth potential. Over long periods, they've generally outperformed other asset classes like fixed deposits or gold.
Right. Higher potential, but also more ups and downs in the short term.
Exactly. And for the sake of showing how you can get to that Euro 1 crore goal, our sources generally use an assumed average annual return of 12% for equity mutual funds in India. Now, this 12% figure, it's a really crucial assumption.
Yeah, you see that number everywhere in these calculations.
You do. It helps anchor our understanding of the long-term potential and whether reaching that target is actually feasible. It's seen as a, realistic, maybe slightly optimistic, but achievable benchmark over decades in the Indian market context. It's not guaranteed, of course, but it's the standard assumption for these long-term plans.
Okay, and this brings us straight to what our sources often call the untapped power of starting early. I mean, we all hear it constantly, start early, but our deep dive really highlights why. Why it's not just some tired old cliche, but actually the biggest advantage you have.
It really is.
And it all comes down to compounding, right?
Yeah.
Can you break down that snowball effect again, just so everyone listening really gets how powerful it is, even though it works so silently?
Yeah, compounding. Sometimes they call it the eighth wonder of the world, and honestly, it's not far off. It's basically earning returns not just on the money you initially invest, but also on the returns that money has already generated.
Returns on your returns.
Exactly. Let's use that classic snowball analogy again. Imagine a tiny snowball at the top of a really long snowy hill. As it starts rolling down, it picks up more snow, getting bigger.
Yeah.
But here's the magic bit. The bigger the snowball gets, the more snow it picks up with every single rotation. So its growth starts to accelerate. It gets faster and faster.
Exponentially.
Exactly. In financial terms, the interest or the returns your investments earn, they get reinvested. And then those returns start earning returns too. Over long periods, and this is crucial, this is where starting early is everything. This creates this amazing accelerating growth curve. It builds wealth way beyond just the sum of what you put in. Our sources had some striking examples. Even relatively small monthly investments like $4,000 or $5,000.
Seems manageable for many.
Right. Over 20 or maybe 30 years, assuming that 12% average return, that small amount can build a corpus of 1 crore. It really shows you don't need a massive lump sum to start. What you absolutely need is time and just sticking with it. Consistency.
So it raises a question for you listening right now.
Yeah, exactly. Are you actually leveraging this incredibly powerful tool time to your maximum advantage? Or are you maybe waiting, thinking you'll start later, and letting those valuable compounding years just slip away? For young people especially, the time you spend in the market is almost always way more important, way more impactful than trying to perfectly time the market. Don't wait.
That's a huge takeaway. Really liberating. It shifts the focus completely.
Yeah.
It's not about being some kind of trading genius or needing a huge pile of cash to begin. It's about patience and just showing up consistently.
Exactly.
And building on that, our sources really hammered home the strategic advantage of saving a fixed percentage of your income, not just a fixed amount, especially as your salary grows over your career.
That's a really critical distinction, actually. The strong advice we saw again and again was to aim to save and invest at least 15%, maybe up to 30% of your monthly income right from the beginning, if possible.
15 to 30%.
Yeah. Now, while we saw that 4,000 and 5,000 a month can get you to that crore over a longer time frame, our deep dive clearly shows that the higher your consistent contribution, the faster your pot of money will grow. Sometimes dramatically faster. Think about this example. It came straight from the sources. If you're earning, say, $25,000 a month, if you commit to investing 40% of that, which is a pretty hefty Euro 10,000 a month.
Wow, 40% is ambitious on that salary, but okay.
It is ambitious, definitely requires discipline, but if you do that consistently, you could potentially hit that Euro crore mark in about 20 years.
20 years instead of maybe 28 or 30 with a lower amount.
Exactly. That's maybe a full 8 to 10 years faster. It just shows this direct, powerful link. Put more capital to work consistently, and you significantly shorten the time it takes to reach your goal. You're turning your income into wealth much, much faster.
So what does this all really boil down to for someone listening, someone wanting to take control? It means maybe moving beyond just saving whatever happens to be left over at the end of the month.
Right, the leftover approach rarely works. Instead, it's about setting a clear, non-negotiable target. How much of your income is actively working for you, building your future, not just flowing out on expenses? It's a conscious decision, right? Proactively allocating a decent chunk of your earnings, not just to live today, but to really thrive financially down the road. It's kind of like financial self-care almost. Okay, we've covered the foundations, the core engine of SIPs and compounding. Now let's talk accelerators. The really clever strategies that can potentially supercharge that growth, maybe help you hit that Euro core goal even faster or perhaps even blow past it. And the first one, this is a real game changer according to our sources. It's the Step Up SIP.
Ah, yes, the step up. This is where the idea of linking your investment power directly to your career growth really comes alive. It's a strategy I personally find, well, really quite intelligent. So a step-up SIP basically means you don't just invest the same fixed amount forever. Instead, you plan to gradually increase your monthly investment amount, maybe by a conservative 5% each year, or maybe a more ambitious 10%, usually timed with your annual salary raise. So as you earn more, you invest more, automatically.
Exactly. You're systematically making your money work harder as you earn more. It directly aligns your growing income with accelerating your wealth creation. And it helps fight that common problem of lifestyle creep where your spending just expands to match your new salary.
Right, the extra money just disappears otherwise.
This way, a chunk of it goes straight into building your future.
And the impact of doing this,
Mhm.
when you look at the numbers, the actual figures from our sources,
Yeah.
it's pretty dramatic, isn't it?
Oh, it's huge.
Let's compare them side by side just to really show the power. Let's take a standard fixed 5,000 monthly SIP and compare it to a step-up SIP, starting at the same year after 1,000, but you commit to increasing that amount by 10% every single year, both running for 25 years, both assuming that same 12% average annual return. What happens?
The difference, like you said, it's genuinely eye-opening, almost astonishing, really. Okay, so for the fixed SIP, 5,000 a month, invested religiously for 25 years. Your total amount invested comes out to 15 lakhs. 15 lakhs put in. Your estimated corpus, after all that time in compounding, it grows to a very respectable 72.8 lakhs. So nearly 3/4 of a crore. That's fantastic, right? Shows the power of just being
It's
consistent.
definitely impressive. Almost a crore from 15 lakhs invested.
But now let's look at the step-up SIP. You start at the same Euro 5,000 a month. But with that disciplined 10% annual increase over the same 25 years, your total invested amount is obviously higher. It comes to about 37.8 lakhs, so you've put in more.
Right, significantly more, over double.
Yes, but watch what happens to the estimated corpus. Powered by that accelerating contribution and compounding, it absolutely explodes to a staggering Euro crore and 39.8 lakhs, almost 1.4 crore.
Wow. Okay, that is a massive difference.
It's huge.
From 72 lakhs to almost 1.4 crore, just by increasing the SIP amount each year.
Exactly.
So it's not just about hitting the Euro core goal anymore. It's about hitting it much faster with way more momentum and potentially smashing right through it. Our sources had these really detailed year-by-year tables.
Yeah, they really show the divergence.
And you can see how the gap just widens dramatically over time. Like after just 10 years, the fixed SIP might be around, say, 10.3 lakhs. But the step-up SEP, even that early, is already nudging 13 lakhs.
Noticeable difference even then.
Yeah, and by the 25-year mark, okay, some sources showed the fixed SEP around maybe 48 lakhs in their specific table, while others had it at that 72 we mentioned. The exact numbers can vary slightly depending on precise compounding calculations.
Sure, slight variations in assumptions.
But the trend is undeniable. The step-up SIP in those same tables is consistently shown way higher, like well over 83 lakhs in one table, and as we just saw, hitting that incredible 1.39 crore in another.
The power is clear.
Absolutely. The step-up approach clearly gets you to and comfortably past the Euro crore target much more effectively. It just amplifies your potential massively.
And if we connect this back to the bigger picture, the step-up SIP perfectly embodies that principle of aligning your investment power with your career growth. As you get promotions, as you get increments, you're not just letting your lifestyle expand to fill the gap, you're proactively, systematically funneling a good portion of that increased earning power directly into accelerating your wealth. It's smart. It's systematic growth, not just static investing.
Makes total sense. Okay, so beyond supercharging the amount you invest, another crucial accelerator is smart diversification, spreading your investments around. And this isn't just about playing it safe, reducing risk, although that's definitely important. It's also about trying to optimize your returns by tapping into different parts of the market, making sure your portfolio can handle different economic weather, so to speak.
Diversification. It's the classic don't put all your eggs in one basket idea, right?
Yeah.
But applied to investing, Our sources strongly advise combining those equity mutual funds, which are your main growth engine for the long run, with other more stable types of investments.
Well,
Things like government-backed options. The Public Provident Fund, PPF, is a big one in India. It's long-term, tax-efficient, gives guaranteed returns. Also, recurring deposits, RDs, those fixed monthly deposits for a set period, these add a crucial layer of stability, predictability. They help balance the risk from the equity side.
so some growth, some safety.
Exactly. The sources also mention things like unit-linked insurance plans, ULPs. They combine investment and life insurance. Might suit some people looking for both in one product. But for pure wealth creation towards that crore, the main focus really stays on a well-structured mutual fund portfolio balanced with some debt.
Right.
And it raises that important question again. Okay, how do you spread your eggs effectively across these different baskets? How do you navigate market ups and downs but still aim for solid growth?
And luckily, our sources actually give a pretty practical, actionable breakdown, specifically for how you might allocate, say, a 5,000 monthly SIP across different types of mutual funds to get that balance.
Yes, they do. For someone aiming for that balanced growth and risk management with a 5,000 monthly SIP, here's a typical diversified allocation they suggested. First, large cap funds. Put a good chunk here, about 40%, which is 2,000 of your 5,000. These funds invest in the big guns of Indian business, the largest, most stable, well-established companies. Think of them as the anchor of your portfolio.
Okay, the steady eddies.
Exactly. They offer more consistent returns, generally less volatile than smaller companies. They provide a solid base. Second, mid-small cap funds. Dedicate maybe 20% here, so 1,000. These invest in smaller emerging companies with potentially higher growth prospects. Now they are more volatile, riskier in the short term.
Higher risk, potentially higher reward.
Precisely. But over the long term, they offer the chance for much higher returns. This part of your portfolio lets you tap into the potential growth stories of tomorrow, best for long-term goals where you can ride out the bumps. Third, hybrid or balanced funds. Another 20%, so another euro 1,000. These funds mix things up. They invest in both debt, like bonds, and equity stocks. The fund manager often adjusts the mix based on market conditions.
Kind of hedging your bets a bit.
Sort of. They aim for moderate risk and more stable returns. The debt part provides a cushion when the stock market gets choppy. It's a middle ground, offering some downside protection while still letting you participate in market gains. And fourth, debt funds or short-term bonds. The remaining 20%, the last 1,000, goes here. These are lower risk investments focused on stability, preserving your capital, maybe generating some regular income.
The safety net within the investment portfolio itself.
Exactly. They act as a crucial balancing element, especially useful as you get closer to your goal or if you just want a safer place for some of your money. This kind of systematic, balanced allocation helps ensure you're exposed to different market segments and opportunities while keeping your overall risk managed across different economic cycles.
Okay, let's bring all these big ideas, these grand strategies, down to earth. Let's talk practicalities.
Yeah.
The real nitty-gritty. It's one thing to talk about big numbers and long timelines.
Yeah, theory is one thing.
Exactly. But how does someone actually budget for serious investment, especially if they're starting out on a pretty modest salary? Our sources actually gave a very concrete, quite eye-opening example for this.
Yeah, this is really where the rubber meets the road, isn't it? Proving this isn't just talk. Our sources showed quite powerfully that even with a salary as low as, say, 18,000 a month, a structured, intentional budget can prioritize and free up a significant chunk for investment. Host, I bet many listeners are thinking, hang on, unpack that. How on earth does someone earning 18,000 rupees manage to invest 5,000 a month and still, live?
Yeah, seriously, 5,000 out of 18,000, that sounds incredibly tight. For many people, 18K barely covers the basics. How did the sources suggest this is even possible?
It is incredibly tight, no doubt about it, but it comes down to conscious, disciplined choices, really deliberate allocation, and maybe a willingness to make some trade-offs, at least initially. The budget breakdown suggested in our sources for that $18,000 salary, it looks something like this, and it really shows the prioritization. Essential expenses, around 10,000. That's about 55% of the income.
Yeah.
This covers the absolute must-haves. Rent, food, transport, basic bills. The key here is keeping these core costs lean.
Okay, managed very carefully.
Definitely. Then emergency fund savings. Even on this tight budget, a non-negotiable 1,000 or about 5% goes here, just reinforcing how crucial that safety net is, building it up bit by bit.
Still putting something aside for emergencies. Good.
Absolutely. Then, SIP investment. Here's the big one. A significant Euro 1,000. That's nearly 28% of the salary. This is where that conscious choice really bites. This budget prioritizes long-term wealth building. It treats it like a fixed bill, like rent. Investment comes first, not last.
Wow, okay.
And finally, other savings expenses. That leaves about 2,000, roughly 12%. This is the more discretionary bit. For some personal spending, maybe saving for a smaller short-term goal, an occasional treat.
So it's possible, but requires real discipline.
Exactly. It's not magic, it's very deliberate choices. I mean, imagine someone, let's call her Pooja, a young professional in maybe a tier 2 city. She sees this budget, feels overwhelmed initially, but maybe she finds a roommate to split the rent. Maybe she starts cooking most meals at home instead of eating out. Maybe she uses public transport instead of ride-sharing apps. Suddenly, that 5,000 SIP becomes achievable. It shows that when the goal is clear, the path, even if it's tough, can be found.
That's a really powerful illustration. It just shows, doesn't it? The path to Euro Crore isn't only about how much you earn at the start. It's fundamentally about how strategically you manage and allocate what you earn.
Precise.
This budget clearly puts investment front and center while still covering the essentials. It's about being incredibly intentional with every single rupee, making sure it's working for your future.
Exactly. It's proactive allocation. Wealth creation isn't an afterthought, something you do if there's money left. No, it becomes a central, non-negotiable part of your financial plan right from day one, systematically turning income into future wealth.
Okay. Beyond careful budgeting, another really practical and maybe often overlooked step is using tax savings. The Indian government offers various tax breaks, and our sources highlighted how using these smartly can actually boost your effective returns, like getting a free bonus on top.
Yeah, what's really fascinating here is how you can essentially increase your overall returns just by intelligently reducing how much tax you pay. It's perfectly legal and encouraged. Our sources strongly advise using investment options that qualify for deductions under Section 80C of the Income Tax Act. This includes things like the Public Provident Fund, PPF, which we mentioned earlier. It's got tax-free returns, very safe.
Right, the EE status exempt.
Exactly. Then there are equity-linked savings schemes, or ELSS mutual funds. These are basically diversified equity funds, but they come with a 3-year lock-in period. And crucially, investments up to 1.5 lakhs per year qualify for that 80C tax deduction.
So you get equity growth potential and save tax.
Precisely. It's a double whammy. Life insurance premiums also often qualify. And importantly, you can strategically include those ELSS funds as part of the equity allocation we talked about earlier, maybe in your large cap or even hybrid bucket. So you're hitting your diversification goals and maximizing your tax savings simultaneously. It just makes your whole investment journey more efficient, accelerates your net wealth growth. It really is like getting a government-backed bonus.
Making your money work smarter, not just harder.
Uh,
Okay, finally, let's talk execution. And maybe just as importantly, ongoing monitoring. You've set the budget, picked the SIPs, but how do you make sure you actually stay on track? Especially when markets get bumpy or life throws curveballs.
Yeah, good point. Consistency, automation, and regular review. Those are the key principles here. First, choosing the funds. The advice is pretty clear. Look for diversified mutual funds with a decent track record, yes, but maybe even more importantly, consistent and experienced fund management.
Do people running the fund matter?
Absolutely. Look for fund houses and managers with stable leadership, a clear investment philosophy that aligns with long-term disciplined investing. Once you've picked them, automation is your absolute best friend. Set up your SIP through your broker or the mutual fund platform itself. Use auto debit mandates from your bank account. Make it happen automatically every month.
Takes willpower out of the equation.
Completely. It ensures that unwavering consistency. It removes the temptation to skip a month, maybe when markets look scary or you feel a bit tight on cash. Automation is just key for disciplined investing over the long haul.
And that consistency, especially when markets are going up and down like a yo-yo, that's where the magic of rupee cost averaging comes in.
Absolutely. Rupee cost averaging is this brilliant, almost automatic benefit of SIPs. Because you're investing the same fixed amount regularly, no matter what the market is doing, you naturally end up buying more units of the mutual fund when prices are low during those market dips. And you buy fewer units when prices are high, when the market's riding high.
Buying more when things are cheap, less when they're expensive. Makes sense.
Over time, this disciplined approach automatically averages out your purchase cost per unit. And often, this leads to better long-term returns than trying to guess the perfect time to buy or sell, which is incredibly hard, even for the pros.
So don't try to time the market.
Exactly. Our sources strongly advised against trying to invest large lump sums initially if you're new to investing. SIPs are better because they naturally build in this disciplined averaging with smaller, manageable chunks. The key is just staying consistent. Keep that monthly SIP going even when the market looks shaky, because those dips, SIPs turn them into opportunities to buy more units on sale.
Okay, so set it up, automate it, let time and compounding work their magic.
Yeah.
But it's not completely set it and forget it, is it? You mentioned review.
Exactly right. Not completely forget. The sources really stress the need to review your portfolio maybe once a year, or perhaps twice a year. And this isn't just a quick glance at the balance, it's a proper chance to assess things. To rebalance if needed, meaning bring your allocations back in line with your original plan if market movements have skewed them. And crucially, to make sure your portfolio still aligns with your evolving goals, your current life situation, your risk tolerance.
Because things change over time.
Absolutely. Your income changes, maybe you get married, have kids, your long-term goals might shift slightly. Your investments need to adapt with you. This annual review keeps your plan alive, dynamic. It ensures you're actively nurturing your financial garden, pruning where needed, making sure it's still growing the way you need it to. It raises that final important question for you, the listener. Are you just setting your plan and then ignoring it? Or are you actively engaging with it, making sure it stays on course to deliver on your financial vision? That regular, informed check-in is what keeps your plan robust and working for you.
Wow, okay, we have covered a lot of ground today. From laying those essential foundations, emergency fund, goals, debt management, to harnessing the quiet power of SIPs, especially those supercharged step-up SIPs. We've looked at smart diversification, the nitty-gritty of budgeting even on a modest income, using tax savings. Now, let's tie it all together. Let's really paint the picture of the path to that Euro Crore milestone.
Yeah.
What does this whole journey look like when you put all the pieces together?
Yeah, if we just quickly recap the core principles that really shine through from our deep dive. It's definitely a multi-pronged approach, isn't it? It starts with getting going early. Then just maintaining that unwavering consistency with your SIPs and really leveraging the step-up SIP power as your income grows. It means committing to saving a decent percentage of your income. Smartly diversifying your investments to balance risk and reward, meticulously managing your expenses, aggressively tackling any high-interest debt, and actively using all the tax breaks available.
Each piece matters.
Exactly. Each component works together synergistically to systematically build that significant wealth over time. They're all vital pieces of the same successful puzzle.
And the big question, the one that really drove this whole deep dive, how realistic, how feasible is this Euro Crore goal for a typical young Indian professional starting out today? Our sources actually offer some really encouraging timelines and numbers. They seem to move it from just a dream to something genuinely possible.
They absolutely do. The examples we looked at, when consolidated, they really hammer home the strong possibility, maybe even probability, of hitting that Euro Crore mark. For someone young, starting disciplined investing around, say, age 25, reaching over 1 crore by their late 40s or early 50s, it's described not as some wild fantasy, but as quite feasible, totally within reach.
That's incredibly motivating.
It is. Let's just quickly revisit a couple of those specific pathways we saw. One scenario showed that starting with just €4,000 a month, but committing to increasing that by only 5% each year, that could get you to Euro 1 crore in about 25 years. That shows an incredibly accessible starting point for many. Consistency and small increments add up massively.
Even a small step up makes a difference.
Then there was the example showing the impact of starting higher. Investing $10,000 a month, maybe that's 40% of a 25K salary, or 20% of a 50K salary that could potentially get you there in just 20 years. Shows how a bigger initial commitment plus consistency drastically cuts down the timeline.
Faster track.
And then that really transformative example, the step-up SIP starting at $5,000 but with a disciplined 10% annual increase. Assuming that 12% return, it was projected to hit almost 1.4 crore in 25 years. That just powerfully underlines how actively boosting your contributions as your income grows can not only meet but potentially smash that Euro Crore target.
Really changes the game.
Totally transforms the financial trajectory.
So what does all this really mean for you, listening right now? It means that path to 1 crore. It isn't some secret code or exclusive club. It's not a pipe dream. It's actually a clear series of strategic, consistent actions. Actions that are meticulously laid out and validated in stuff we've dug into today. It's not about luck or finding some risky get-rich-quick scheme.
Yeah, definitely not.
It's about patience. unwavering discipline,
Hmm.
and really understanding how that silent, massive power of compounding can just work relentlessly for you day in, day out. It's a journey, right? Not a lottery ticket.
Absolutely. And if we connect that to the bigger picture, it's about truly internalizing that wealth building is a marathon. It's not a sprint. These specific actionable strategies we've unpacked today, they provide a clear track to follow, a well-trodden path. They empower you to systematically build substantial wealth over your working life. They transform what seems like this huge, insurmountable number euro core into something genuinely achievable, a tangible reality. The power ultimately rests in your hands through the choices you make starting today. Hashtag outro metric.
So there you have it, our deep dive into building Euro 1 Crore in India. What we've really uncovered today, digging through all that material, is that disciplined, early, consistent investing, when you combine it with smart financial habits like budgeting carefully and using those tax breaks,
Hmm.
it truly makes that ambitious Euro 1 crore goal not just possible, but actually quite feasible for young Indian adults.
Hmm.
It really comes down to finding that smart balance, doesn't it? Leveraging your time, managing risk wisely, and just committing to disciplined, systematic saving.
Indeed. And as you reflect on everything we've discussed today, maybe just consider this. Think about the profound impact that even a small, consistent percentage of your income systematically invested can genuinely build over time. It's not just about hitting a certain number, is it? It's about building financial freedom, securing your future, and ultimately finding that real sense of peace of mind that comes with financial stability. So maybe as you switch off from this deep dive, just take a moment. Ask yourself, what specific actionable step, maybe just one small step, will you take next to begin or maybe to accelerate your own remarkable journey towards that significant financial goal?
That's a fantastic question to end on, really thought-provoking. We sincerely hope this deep dive has given you some clarity, some practical tools, and maybe most importantly, the motivation to confidently start or continue through your own powerful financial journey. Thanks so much for joining us on the deep dive. We'll be back very soon, ready to unpack another crucial topic just for you.